right, welcome back to the Couch Command. Or also, I might be releasing this on the old HJU Radio feed. So if you guys haven't heard from us in a long time, sorry. But yeah, we're doing a new podcast, which is like a little more geek, general oriented. And I have a special one today. Today I have the creators of BLOODLINE of the GRID. I have with me DJ Rivers.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Cool. And we also have with us, I'm going to geek here, I think potentially my favorite Red Ranger of all time, Christopher Khayman Lee.
What is this? I think potentially, maybe. What is that?
It is a continual debate. Like that's a geek thing you're supposed to do. You continue to go back and forth because like he's out through the years.
He's okay. I mean, he only saved the universe.
And,
duking it out through the years. It's you, Leo, and
Luke
Wes
Skywalker.
But yes, you do have the starship. That's pretty big.
Andros has the Force too. That's kind of a big thing.
And a sword, and a cloak.
And a sword,
and a long-lost sister, and a complicated relationship. Yeah.
Also changed the game on like my enjoyment of Power Rangers from ironic to genuine.
Wow.
I'm not even, my path through Power Rangers was like high school, 90s. You're looking for anything with like martial arts in it, because I was in martial arts at the time. So anything that has it, and then like Power Rangers is like a little too goofy for me, but I was like, wait, that's a Japanese show right there. And they're good martial artists. Wait. And they're all into the joke. Okay, well, now I can just have fun with it. And then, like, it was a fun, ironic, you try to get into the drama, but then, like, I kind of given up. Then Power Rangers in Space did happen, and it was, like, the Beast Wars moment where, like, instead of, like, liking it because you're part of that property, the story is actually, like, world building, science fiction, and Expanse. Like, one of my favorite things was the line of, you guys are planetary rangers. What do you know about space? I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That just like blew up the universe where like rangers are like weapons that can be used. And like, anyway, yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. So yes, you're potentially currently my favorite Red Ranger. So thank you for being on the show.
My favorite line from our series was, it wasn't even my line. It was Selwyn's line. And that was when, we gotta go down there. We gotta go down into the Dagobah system and check out for this, that, and the other. And I was just like, "What?"
I rewound that several times, going, "What the hell? Holy shit! He actually said it, guys."
And it's spelled, when we got the script, it was spelled the same way that Lucas spelled it too. So it was like there was no like screwing around. It was like, no, we stole that shit.
Is there any legal whatnot for it? Like, I couldn't believe you guys said it. It was awesome, but like, is that legal? I guess it is.
They've never gotten in trouble with it, but also keep in mind they were both on a Fox network. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's probably like a gray where it was 20th Century Fox Star Wars and also Fox TV. So, or what are they going to do?
Yeah, and at the time too, it was like this was supposed to be the last season of Power Rangers to ever be. So like the producers really didn't give a shit. They were like, "Go for it. Just say whatever you want to say. We don't care."
Well, so like. In my like search for like I'm gonna like say that this does, I think you guys feel the same way. A lot of this podcast and what I've been doing with like studying creativity and whatnot is the fall of Star Wars and those sequel movies, which crushed me.
It's fallen very far.
Yeah, so like my story with that was just like I was ready for The Force Awakens to be the greatest movie of all time. I was like, we're done with you, George Lucas. You're out of the way. This can only go up from here. You can't get worse than the prequels. Let's do this. Oh my God. And yeah, that was devastating. But
so my whole thing about the sequel trilogy is I have a love-hate relationship. I'm disappointed with Star Wars, the property, in terms of the creative element about it is it's very merchandise. It is very much, let's just see what we can do at this point, as opposed to it. Because even arguably, the prequels weren't amazingly executed movies, but those movies in different hands still created a narrative and storyline that you can appreciate in terms of world building. Versus, it was so painfully obvious that the sequel trilogy did not know what to do.
Didn't care.
After years of not having a Star Wars movie, that's the part that sucks.
Yeah, like, so that was like they're all about like imagery and like not story. Like Phasma was one of the most wasted opportunities that still has me confused. But like, so then like, I've been like studying like, so what succeeds and what doesn't. And because to me, like, I was thinking, you should be able to brute force creativity. Like, they have all the money in the world. Just buy the best script, buy the best. And then like, studying it, like, no, nothing works like that. Like, you can't just like do it. Like, accidents happen. People get in the right place in the right time of their lives. And then Power Rangers in space apparently happened. Because yeah, like when I was sitting ready for it, I was like, okay, like, what are you guys gonna do now? Because Turbo was like pretty low on story, and I was like, okay, so and this guy right here, he looks like Tommy. Okay, so is he gonna just act like, oh wait, what? He's not Tommy at all. And what? He's got story, what backstory, and then like world building, and then what? The turtles are coming too. Well, let me get my robot, and I'm gonna have myself a glass of wine. The turtles is horrible. So yeah, that was creativity is a beautiful accident, as I keep on finding.
Well, I definitely want to. I would definitely, to answer your question, yes, it is. But to kind of segue back and forth between Star Wars and ultimately Power Rangers and Bloodline, like when you think about the evolution of ideas, even with Star Wars, anyone who ever deep dives into the original Star Wars and I love the behind the scenes stuff a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really do, because that's back in the day where you're taking ping pong tables and micro machine sets and practical executions just to kind of create this world where you can't just drag and drop at a click of a button, which is why even not to get too off topic, like a constant with nerds, I feel like now, is criticizing Marvel films as CGI, where you watch the original Iron Man, mind you, not as much is happening. I mean, it is what it is. You extend more and you expand more, the execution is going to be broadened. But people compare the original Iron Man 1 CGI compared to, like something like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and it is a little bit far from the tree in terms of the quality. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is you have practical effects with the original Star Wars, but that movie was an accident through and through, where the original cut was so bad that George Lucas's wife and her team had to recut it, reshoot it, and then find the movie in editing. So George has all the props and praise in the world in terms of the element of conceptualizing, but execution has never been his strong suit. It never has been. Ever. So nobody telling him no, my bad, but just to finish your point, like just nobody telling him no was probably one of the biggest things in terms of the quality of Star Wars, because by the time it got to the prequels, he's Mr. George Lucas. Nobody's going to argue with him. Versus the cast, crew, and everything was questioning him the entire time in the first one. Irving Kershner killed the direction game in the second one, where Harrison Ford is ad-libbing and making up lines on the spot type of thing. And by the time we get to the third one, now we get this. We're getting the precursor to the Gungans with the Ewok Care Bear special. So,
so yeah, I've been finding like through strife, all of a sudden great art comes about. Versus like maybe, well, I would say like everything in the row sometimes doesn't work. So, would you say was the set of Power Rangers in Space was it a struggle every day, or was it easy going and that's what created something great? What did you guys experience?
No, it was the working on set was very easy, but the other four had a good deal easier than I did. Obviously they knew each other, because they all came in from Turbo. But one thing that kind of screwed it up for me was that before I started filming with anybody, our executive producer, Jonathan, had told me he pulled me aside and he said, so, your character, he doesn't like them and all that. And I was like, yeah, no, I know what the character's all about. I got you. And he's like, so, essentially what he boiled it down to was, we'd really like it if you don't hang out or get to know or do anything with the cast.
You said that.
Because that would make it harder for your character or something like that. And I'm thinking, the whole time I'm thinking to myself, and I'm a kid, I was a baby on the set, and I'm still thinking to myself, I can just act like I don't like them.
Exactly.
That's kind of why you hired me, is I can act like I don't like them, but I can still get along with them. So for quite a while, when we first started filming that, they all thought that I was an asshole for real. because I wouldn't have anything to do with them. And it's like, no, this is not my call. Yeah. If Saban tells you jump, how high, sir? That's it.
So. Would you say that did create something on screen though? Like, because like I've seen like several things like with things that actually make the actors uncomfortable, but it did turn into something interesting on screen. Like,
I think that it did help to like right off the bat initially create like or like put some kind of a excuse me, a barrier between Andros and then the other characters, which was really great. And then they totally screwed the pooch because like by episode 5 or 6 they're like, now you guys are best friends, and it's like, what the hell are you talking? How did that happen? When did that happen? Why you had a good idea, don't have him like them, and then or don't have him want to get to know them, don't have him want to have anything to do with them, and then all of a sudden now we're best friends.
From the audience perspective, I think it was frustrating for no, you're completely right. It should have been of development. But yeah, from the audience perspective, I guess like especially if you're a little kid, like I just want to see you guys play together. So skip to the end. And, yeah. So and then my next question is to DJ then on creativity. Oh, it's both of you guys then. On creativity, what was the spark? How did this happen? And I'm not sure if this has something to do with the start, but a main question that I kept on coming to like throughout the week. I'm like watching Unworthy, this, and third one. Oh, Shattered Grid, Shattered Past. You guys hit a level of production that no one else did. How did you guys do this? Like, what happened? This is So like, I wanted to like the podcast was originally supposed to be about Stranger Things because like this is how the podcast works. We watch something awesome, and I get one of my favorite creatives on, and like we talk about that thing. But then like I was like, oh, I should probably watch their episode too, so we talk about that. And then like more, I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh wait, this is the episode. Okay, yeah, we gotta change this up. So.
Yeah, episode 2 looks pretty damn good, doesn't it?
Yes. What happened? How did this all start?
You can thank DJ for that. You can thank DJ for that.
Yeah. Oh, then also the surprise reveal, which I should already know, and I apologize for not paying attention enough to your life, DJ. I didn't know you were a director. Because like I was like watching it, and I was like, God damn, that was good. And then DJ Rivers, like, whoa, oh my god. So all of a sudden, like the podcast changed. I was like, okay, I need to talk to DJ and Chris. How did this start? What happened?
Wow,
go man, go!
I want Chris to answer it, but the one thing the few things I'm gonna say right now is number one, thank you for the love. Even you saying like the quality and the production is whatever you said it was. Thank you for that, man. It has taken a lot of blood, sweat, and tears with the cast and crew. So I just appreciate the love real quick. But go ahead, Chris. You could go down the trip of memory lane, and I'll follow behind.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole idea of it came around like, God, I don't even know how many years ago. It's many, many years now at this point. Like, I'm going to say bare minimum 8, maybe 10. Sure. And it was originally an idea that was brought to me by one of our
associates.
Yeah, one of our associates, Rando, and he had talked to me about it a long time ago, and it was like, what if, and it was a very really, really simple concept right off the bat. Like, it was just basically one question: what if Andros actually was the son of Ecliptor?
Oh my god!
And when that question was brought up to me, then it was like that like made me look back at the series from a million years ago, and I'm looking at it like I'm looking at the series with that in mind, and I'm thinking, holy shit, was that their idea the whole time? Were they actually doing that? Because that makes so much sense.
Yeah, why he's so interested in Tyrone and you.
Well, yeah. The like big thing of it is that like he obviously he never treated her like okay boss, and she never treated him like okay Goldar, dumb monkey guy in the corner over there. She never treated him like that, but he clearly cared for her.
Yep.
And then when you watch the series, he fights Andros, I don't know how many times throughout the series, but it's a bunch of times. And every time he beats the shit out of Andros. Like, just, it's not even a fight. It's like, it's brutal to the point where he could just kill him, but he never does. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, so he's training his daughter to be evil queen of the universe and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's making his son tougher and tougher with each fight. So it's like, okay, that now makes a lot of sense that that Ecliptor would actually be their father, and that was the original question, and then that quickly changed over to, okay, well, keeping that in mind, and I always wanted it to be more than just about Andros, but I wanted the main focus to be two things, Andros and Zane. So the idea changed over to, okay, not just Ecliptor is dad. Now it's Ecliptor is dad, but what are Andros and Zane doing right now? And even then, that was like, okay, that's good, but that's not enough.
Right.
Because that's just a tiny sliver of what we could do. And when DJ came on board, he kind of opened it up to what's going on in the universe, not just what's going on with these two guys.
Fantastic.
So, no, I appreciate all that, man. And that's exactly it. So credit to Chris, because literally it is, first of all, Chris is a creative. And that's what I admire about the dude. He is open-minded. He does like to explore the potential in things. So, not to bring it back to Star Wars and George Lucas, but some of the best works is because it is a collaborative process type of thing. And originally when Chris brought me on board, it was strictly as a potential role. It was the thought process of what are the other teammates doing, the team members doing, but also the possibility of next generation, because it is a time jump type of thing. So as he's giving me the concept, which from the get-go was already interesting, because it changes the narrative when you look back on the show, regardless of intent, regardless of interpretation or not. There was a lot of elements of in space, Power Rangers in space, that left everything open-ended. Case in point, we never really found out directly into the show or in the show why Ecliptor was such a father figure to Corone. It was never flat out explained. You could chalk up as far as why didn't Ecliptor defeat Andros? You could chop it up to, well, then we don't have a show, or because of this, or because of that, or you can apply a new layer of context and all of a sudden completely change the way you look at the show, and then go, you know what? That's a point. That could possibly be it. So what started off? No, go for it, please. No, please.
I was gonna say, I'll admit that I remember seeing all the bits and stuff as it was coming, and I was in the camp of, oh man, you guys gotta ruin Andros, because I thought that you guys were gonna make him the evil bad guy, and I was like, don't do this. But then the episode started unfolding, and you guys actually do storytelling within the costume. I have so much love for what you guys did. So yeah, great.
No,
you have no idea how many times it's been asked, why is Andros evil now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like so many times, hundreds of times.
People have been burned by Last Jedi so hard that we can't wait for the next time someone does that to the next person we love. That's what I thought you guys were gonna do, because that's really art. Maybe he was always evil. Like, oh, come on, don't do that. Like, no.
But everything we're doing. Everything we're doing is so intentional. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when the concept came about where, okay, so like Chris said, the main two focal points was Andros being the son of Ecliptor, which through proxy, Corone, the children of Ecliptor, but also the important individuals in Andros' life, which is the KO-35 boys. It really is a Zane, Devil May Cry relationship with Andros, you know? One's a little bit more serious, one's a little bit more surfer at the time, right? So with that said, as I'm, because Chris and I have been friends for a long time, I started asking them the questions, not to just like pick holes or anything. I'm just really asking, like, okay, so what else is happening? Like, how far is the story? How contained is the story? What's the bigger picture? So we started fleshing it out. I couldn't even tell you how it snowballed from us just like talking shop to pre-production per se. But
that's a question I got. So 2 questions. So the first one is, do you guys remember where you were? Like, were you at a bar? Where you got like just on a walk when you the first spark hit when you talked to Rando Calrissian, I believe his name is.
Mm-hmm.
And then when like you guys talked to DJ, like where were you guys when it happened?
Well, the first time that I had spoken to Rando about it was, I think it was at a convention in Florida. I can't remember which one though.
Okay.
But that was years ago, and the idea was, like I said, it was just like, okay, Andros is the son of a Glyptor, and what is he and Zane doing? That idea, like, kind of just stayed where it was for a very long time, for quite a while. There was, ideas thrown out here and there of like, well, what about like TJ? What would he be doing? Or what about Ashley? What is she doing? Or whatever. And but nothing was ever like written down. Nothing was ever like, like, okay, this is definitely the right idea to do with that person. That should that should be set in stone or whatever. And when DJ came on board, he kind of whipped us all into shape and got it moving in a different direction. But honestly, I can say without even having to think about it, a much better direction.
And then DJ, so yeah, how does it come together for you? Because once again, how do you guys hit this level of production that other people didn't? Well, yeah, tell me where it came from.
No, that's fair. I could also answer another question as far as, do I remember when Chris and I just started like sparking?
Yes.
He had came to my place. We did actually end up going to a bar. And then, of course, a few drinks later, it's like, you know what? We should incorporate this, that, and the other. Da, 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 da.
Was that the bar, the goat one? What is the name of it? The angry goat or something like
Thirsty?
that.
No, you mean the tipsy cow or something?
It's something with a goat in it. I thought it had a goat in the name of it. Damn.
No, dude, it was like, we went to we went to Thirsty Merchant first of all.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to Thirsty Merchant. I don't know about a goat, but hey, if I was there, I'll remember. But no, so man, let me see if I can streamline this, because it's years of concepts and then moments of fruition and materializing it, because it stayed a concept. Even when we were talking about it, it was a concept, but it wasn't as long as Chris having it under lock and key for like years. And again, the original concept was very much, I don't want to say basic, but it was very simple. Now, the deep dive into it, I started getting into more content creating and working with creators and influencers, and even on the Hollywood end, just started being part of certain productions. And then even with Colin and Nerdbots, that relationship developed over the course of time, where I started off as one character for one of his series, First Ninja, and it was a play on the Cyclone, the Green Cyclone Ranger from Ninja Storm. So that working relationship started off with that. And as both of our trajectories kind of kept going, Chris and I, of course, are great friends. And this has always been in the oven, but it wasn't necessarily like, hey, DJ, make this happen, or Chris, da, 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 da. It was just more like, this is a concept we both wanted to see happen. Fast forward and jumping a whole bunch of details, we start fleshing it out in passing ever so often. Just like, hey, what do you think about this concept? What do you think about this concept? And as the relationships kept growing, especially with Colin and Nerdbot, it finally got to a point where I remember specifically, it was after New Year's, and Chris hits me up and is like, dude, little brother, we have to get this going. It was literally that. When Chris puts his mind to something, it's exactly that. It's like, dude, it's no more talking. We have to do this. I want you part of this. I don't know to what capacity, but let's, you and me, do this. And me, I'm me, and it's not often where I'm speechless. And the only thing I said back was, "I'll call you back." And then the conversations later, I remember literally driving, I think, actually did coincidentally, I think we were going to my mother's, bro. And then I get a call from Colin and Nerdbot. And then and the conversation basically went, yo, we really want to make this happen. We want to collaborate. Let's see what we can figure out as far as what makes sense. Once again, fast forwarding. Then Chris and I really started deep diving as far as what's the approach, what's the tone. So pulling all of our resources and trying to get our MacGyver materials together as far as, okay, well, I have bubble gum. I have shoestring. Well, I have a lighter. What can we make out of this? Cool. Well, this is how we're going to break out this prison. So
that's
I hope that answers
dude.
I hope that answers your question because, and then it becomes like, now it's more than just Bloodline of the Grid. And for the longest time, we were calling it Blood of the Grid. And then we were polishing the tone of everything. We were polishing the mindset of everything, and even the incorporation of like it wasn't intended to be like a crossover integration with Shattered Past and Nerdbot, but we found where it made sense in order to lend each other's characters. And again, one thing I want to, and I know this is like way longer of an answer than it should be already. But I respect Chris so much. There was a certain tone and quality I knew it had to have. And being the masochist that I am, I'm over here just like, you know what? If I want to make sure it happens. I don't want it to be a question of we could have done it. I want it to be a conversation of we're doing it and we're doing it right. So I hope
did it right. Yeah, like what I saw on the screen was kind of I'll say it's wish fulfillment for a lot of fans, especially me. Like, you did create TK, who is like almost exactly who I'd want to be in the Power Ranger universe. There's inches of things that like the Power Ranger space, whatnot, has lived in my mind since it went off the air. So getting to see you guys again in action is just, it's a lot of fun. And did I also see that you did the choreography, DJ?
Some of it, but I want to give a big credit to our actual choreographer, who is John Tiang and his team. And he's, again, another relationship that I acquired, or we developed over time as well. We've worked on different projects. And the irony is, and this is happy accidents. If you want to talk about behind the scenes production stuff, that was a happy accident because originally I had another guy in mind. It didn't work out, long story short, which is fine. It happens. And then John was like, we all have social media. We all have our followers and making friends. I came across him after not seeing him in a while, and it was more like a shot in the dark. He literally comes down to my place, and we drive down to the location where you see the Crybot fight happen. I always knew I wanted that fight to be there. It's the worst and best decision I ever made.
Why worst?
Oh, Chris, please chime in.
Oh man! So that location,
it's hell.
There's good. There's good and there's bad to it. The good is that it looks really cool.
Yes, it's
a very unique kind of setting, and the bad is it's a really unique kind of setting. It really sucks getting down there because there's no easy way to get down to, like, from where you get a park to where you actually to where we actually filmed. That's a hike. That's a long ass hike, and you're climbing over rocks and mountains and shit. And and we are carrying like all this equipment with us. Not
I was just about to say
stuff.
The hike is fine. It's the stuff we have to carry with us with production stuff to get to location. That's the pain in the ass. But please,
yes, because we got to carry in also, like, because we got all the camera equipment, we got all of that stuff, but then we've got all of our props, we've got all of the stuff for the stuntmen, their outfits, their helmets, their crash pads, all this shit that we're carrying down there.
The camera equipment, the green screen, the everything.
That's
our stuff as well. So just to answer your question, go ahead, Chris.
That's one half of the problem.
Oh,
the other half of the problem is that when you look at that scene where DJ starts fighting the Crybots, you can see that there's a big like a rock wall kind of right behind him. That rock wall is bullshit, and I hate it.
Yeah,
because
So what happens is because that ridge is so big, once the sun gets behind it, it cuts out all the shooting time in the day. So the natural lighting changes the shadow orientation, and even like the daylight type of setting. So if it's about 3 o'clock, it looks like it's about 6 o'clock.
Did you guys do this more than one day?
Oh God!
Bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
That's what I mean about
that. Adds to the story.
Well, that's what I mean about it's one of the best and worst decisions I've made, because we had to go down there so many times because the shooting time because if you go too early, the lighting is different. If you go too late, the lighting is different. So there's literally a pocket time, not to mention you're scheduling for the walk down there, clean up and walking out of it, choreo. If one of the biggest compliments I feel like we've gotten with this episode is the pacing, that it's twice as long, it gets to 30 minutes, and it doesn't feel that way. And that as an editor, that's when I'm like, blessings, I appreciate you guys. That means we succeeded. But in general, it was a lot of time going down there. And here's the thing, too. The seasons kept changing. And if you know anything about this location, you wait a week and a half, and the Foley and everything else around it changes. Like what was once was brown is now green. What was green was once brown, that type of stuff. So connecting it back to the original question about the stunts and choreography, I go down there with John Tiang. I'm scouting location. I'm telling him about the concept. I'm telling him about what the idea and end goal is. And I have him talk to Chris. I get him on the phone. I'm like, Chris, I like this guy a lot. I want you to talk to him. Let me know what you think. Fast forward. John comes in with his amazing team. I'm going to forget a few people. I'm going to apologize right now. But shout out to Sky, Abel, Thomas, Jozar, Meiji. Who am I missing, man? I know I'm missing a lot. But anyways, they
more.
And it's an amazing team. But here's the thing, too. The Crybot scene looks like there was about 8 to 12 of them. We had like maybe 3 or 4 at any given time.
Yeah.
Dude, good trick.
So we had to be I had to frame it in a very specific way to make sure that it seemed busy and without it seeming and coming off too putty, like where, they're all in the background, but they're not doing anything. So just making it make sense. And I'm such a stickler for just like continuity as much as possible. Every show has continuity. Every show has continuity errors, dude.
Impressive camera work, man. Because like when I was watching, I was like, that looks like a lot of money for just like to hit the 2 hit point ninjas. Like you guys spent, but it was only just 3 of them.
3 or 4 at any given time. We maybe had 5 max on any given time, but realistically,
if we had 5, then one was obviously John then too. So.
Right? Yeah. Oh, that's a good
John,
point. So, including John. And
John is always on set with the boys.
So not only was he serving as our main stunt choreographer, like put it this way, I had the concept and I had the sequence in mind, and between collaborating with him. He would come with his choreography and I would come with my choreography, but it is still more him than me. I know I made my adjustments and I knew what I wanted specifically. But we like John so much that, again, there's a reason why the character Vincent Reyes does exist, which developed into Justin Nemo's character, Commander Zane's right-hand person and becoming his lieutenant. And I couldn't be more proud of him becoming that character.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. The next place I was going to go with this is... what's the name of the starship? I need to know.
The Obsidian.
Ooh, good name. Yeah.
We may put a little color in front of it. It might be the red Obsidian, crimson Obsidian, Obsidian.
I was leaning towards crimson Obsidian.
I dig it. Here's a question back to Power Rangers in Space, something I've been wanting to know for a long time. I love Psycho Red. Holy shit, I love Psycho Red. There's like this memory that I'll never forget. Because it was like me and my friend Mark, we were the ones who were into Power Rangers and no one else wanted to ever hear about it because, we were in high school. But so like the episode comes on where Patrick is like actually on screen. And I was like, dude, you gotta see this. And like, when they showed up on screen as humans, my buddy couldn't help but go, damn! Like, they smoldered. Their faces looked like a punch. It was awesome. So was he the voice actor the entire time? And did they ever consider like having him on the screen more than once?
Was he the voice actor for Psycho Red the whole time?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he was always the voice. I have no idea if they were ever going to bring them back more than once. I don't think that was ever in the cards. I never even met him when we filmed.
That makes sense.
I never met him. Patrick told me that like the day that they were filming, or maybe there were 2 days, but he said that like I was there, and I guess he and I were both there at lunch, but I had no idea who he was. And he didn't come up to me. He was just like, "Oh, that's the guy. That's the red guy." Oh, okay. I had no idea because I was never in any scenes. I think it was Power Morphicon many years later. I believe it was Power Morphicon.
Yeah, I thought like him and the rest of them had like fantastic. I thought it was like there's two sides of it to me. Like because they only did it once, has kept it to be like a super special episode that I have gone back to over the years. But I just kind of wondered, like, yeah, that seems like a waste. Like they have good screen presence. They would have been good rivals on the screen. So
it would have been, yes.
All right.
I remind you, like it is Saban, and giving people screen time wasn't exactly the most known reputation.
Gotcha.
You also keep in mind they didn't even unmorph or give a civilian form to all the Psycho Rangers. It was literally just Patrick, the yellow, and I want to say black. I might be wrong.
It was Michael and Patrick, and then I cannot remember her name. That was yellow. I know that the guy that was blue, it's Wally Wingert, voice actor who's been in the business since the beginning of time. Yeah, right. He's done everything. And Pink, I don't really know too much about her either, which kind of is crazy.
Can we give you a little bit of behind the scenes on Bloodline in regards to Patrick?
Absolutely.
Patrick was an accident, dude.
Say what?
Patrick's involvement was an accident.
Yes.
Like as much as like he's become such a main character in this, which I'm so glad he is.
Perfectly balances with you guys.
Oh, dude, and that was kind of and I'm so glad you said that, but that was kind of the goal and hope that once that, dude, I feel like Bloodline is one big like series of light bulbs just going above our heads, man. If we were like comic books, that stuff would just be going off on like
because a lot of happy accidents.
I see a lot of DBZ in you guys' hearts, because like I'm seeing Andros is Piccolo, you're Gohan, and Patrick is Vegeta.
100%, yes.
Pretty much, that's that dynamic.
So exactly what it is.
So in terms of like Patrick's story, real quick, if you don't mind me segueing real quick,
please.
So episode 1, do you know the story about episode 1 per se, Keith? Like, do you know the actual intent of episode 1 and what it was supposed to be?
No, I'm gonna say no.
Chris?
The first, so Bloodline of the Grid episode 1 is not Bloodline of the Grid episode 1. It's Bloodline of the Grid, the trailer. That was what the intention was. It was never supposed to be, this is going to be an episode. It was never supposed to be like 11 and a half minutes long, or however long it was. I thought it was
supposed to be 1 minute, maybe post
trailer.
So it was supposed to be just a teaser. And the fact of the matter is, I shot way too much. I shot way too much. So the original concept is, imagine like a trailer where maybe it pulses in, pulses to black, pulses in, pulses to black, and you see little imagery here and there. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I mean, regardless, we are Star Wars fans. Even if we have different tastes in Star Wars stuff, or we are Dragon Ball fans, even if we have different tastes of Dragon Ball stuff. So, for instance, the imagery of Chris and his back towards camera, I'd be lying if I said I didn't take influence from, say what you want about the sequel trilogy, it's still beautifully shot, period. Like it's technical wise, it's probably the prettiest looking of the Star Wars movies. I'm not going to say like whatever about the quality of storytelling, but the shot of Luke Skywalker at the end of Force Awakens, I love that shot. I really do. I've always loved that shot. Oh, yes. So Andros' back to camera as the drone flies towards him, completely inspired by that. But it's not your Luke. It's our Luke Skywalker, and it's a different type of Luke Skywalker. We don't know what he's about. He is mysterious. He does have an eyepiece and has a certain transformation happening. So it's totally valid that fans took away like, oh, we're just making him a bad guy. You're like, no, pay attention to the details. Not only is he wearing these garbs and he's making a physical transformation, he also has his locket, and it's not just a locket. It's Coron's locket. It has her symbol on it. You know,
okay, I think you guys are revealing things that I don't know if everybody knows this, because like I don't think I didn't figure it out until this conversation.
But respectfully, if you paid attention to the series, it's all there. Like, I'm not saying anything that you can't put two and two together. Like, I'm not spoiling alert, or I'm not spoiling anything that is like, oh man, that you would have never, like, no. If you actually just think about it, Andros's locket was always barren. Caron's locket is the one with her symbol, period.
Cool.
Stuff like that. So
the part that I didn't know or didn't figure out at all is that you guys doing the Ecliptors being Andros' father, and he's going through a transformation. I didn't. So like, all my headcanon was like, okay, he did something to himself to harness Ecliptor energy for some reason, and now I'm finding out he's going through a transformation.
Well, if you watch episode 2, it's there. We dropped it in episode 2.
The father part?
Yeah. The conversation with Nemo. So when Sam and Zane are talking, the very last line is, you're not going after Andros, my ex-Power Ranger and my friend. You're going after the Red Raider, the heir and son of Ecliptor. What does Andros call himself? The Red Raider. This is not spoilers. It's in there.
Nope, I missed. I missed the son. I apologize.
That's all good. But anyways, the point is. So long story short, as far as episode 1, so we're filming it. It was supposed to be pulsing like, oh, you see the back of Andros. That's mysterious. You might see a portal show up. You might see TK. You might see a little scuffle, and then Bloodline of the Grid. Oh wow, that's awesome and epic. We shot way too much, and the executive decision made was just like, you know what? I think I can make an episode out of this. Give them a taste of the world and leave them wanting more. Let's just do it. The decision was made. Episode 1 happens. The reception's been nothing but awesome and positive. Big.
Well, then, but also like at the end, because like out of nowhere, DJ had brought up, can we get Patrick?
Yeah,
and there was the idea of using Patrick, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, now we got this whole scene where he flat out just murders 2 dudes, and at the very end, cackles and transforms into Red, which, by the way, I'm going to tell you a little secret. We don't have a Psycho Red suit. We have a Psycho Green. We have a Psycho Green suit. That is not red.
Holy shit!
That is green. That is not red.
I want to give a big shout out to our co-producer, Jerry Kodo. He helps me with the editing. I do all the assembly and stuff, and then much more talented people do the effects, but Jerry polishes it up and makes it amazing, right? So he chromes it so that he transforms the Psycho Green suit into red. So in both episodes, and when he morphs into Psycho Red, it's a green suit. Even in this last episode where Psycho Red appears, that is a green suit. So even the original concept for Patrick being involved was supposed to be more of a Marvel-like after credit scene type of thing. And I had pitched this. I had said, like, imagine a place where there's bodies on the ground, and then like maybe he's at a terminal, and then he like turns the camera and says something. That was the original concept, where he didn't have to do much, and that he would just be revealed. And then that didn't happen because we had a location that just looked really alien and badass, so we decided to go down there. Chris forgot to tell Patrick the scene changed, so Patrick was ready to just sit down at a place, turn to camera, and then cackle. I end up having them run towards people, fighting people, snapping a guy's neck, going on communicator, and then he was not ready for any of that. And it ended up not being an after credit scene as opposed to like the next scene of the same episode. And the reception was so good. I'm like, dude, this is your team, because part of the other concept about Andros being the Red Raider was him having his team of Red Raiders, plural, and TK was in the equation, and that's fine. But what if one of his biggest rivals was on it, and you do have that Vegeta on the team? What's that dynamic like? So that's how the Red Raiders and the main 2 lieutenants of Andros, which is still expanding, by the way, that's how that got geared up. And I'm doing a lot of talking. Shut me up. Thank you.
Oh no, dude, this is like what I want to hear. You're singing to the choir, man.
So that was like kind of a last minute change, a very big last minute change for episode 1. But there was another, I feel, really big last minute change for episode 1 as well, which was the opening narration. Because I had told DJ, I was like, I'm really tight with Dave. We could maybe get him to do like an opening narration, and you just like, all right, I'll write it up, and then boom. So I just hit up Dave, Dave Fielding, and I was like, can you do this for me? And just make it sound cool the way you do.
Should we know? Who's Dave Fielding?
That's Zordon, dude.
Oh, good Jesus! What the? Oh my God! I'm a terrible fan, and I didn't even notice that you guys have Zordon in the opening.
Yeah,
God,
that's Dave. Now, whether or not he's actually like doing the Zordon voice, that's not like nobody's saying anything about that yet. But I did want Dave to do it because it was like, this is a fun little Easter egg that some people might catch on to it, some people might not, whatever. And I mean, obviously, he's credited there, narrator Dave Fielding, and then we got him to do.
A lot of people notice. A lot of people really, really notice. I think a lot of people really noticed it in episode 2. He does a very different rendition of it in episode 2, though. In episode 1, he does more of a sage-like type of a persona, and in episode 2, he kind of leans a little bit more heavy into the Zordon persona mixed with the sage. And I wanted to give. I mean, dude. It is a credit to. I love the way Chris and I work because, dude, it's funny that we were able to change the narration for episode 2. It's something I wanted to do, but I didn't think it was something we were going to do because I had as always, I have 100 different things going on trying to get stuff ready. Right? Chris hits me up literally the Sunday before we're talking it on that Tuesday.
Yep.
And then I wake up to the text like, "Yo, dude, you know what I was thinking of, man? We have Dave Fielding, so we should utilize him. Maybe we should just change up the opening narration. What do you think?" And
because I didn't want to use like the same one from the first one. I was thinking maybe we just have him do another one, a different one.
And he was absolutely right. And the thing about it is, he didn't know this, but I wanted to do that. It was just the first. It was just the furthest thing on my mind because I had 100 other things I have to get done, right? And in a moment of effort, straight up, fuck it. Pardon me if we're not supposed to cuss. It was fuck yeah. So in a moment,
you opened up the
yeah. I messed up. I blame myself. I was like, I know, Chris. I blame myself. But so in a moment of true, just throwing caution to the wind, especially because I didn't really have time. I put it on Chris. First of all, I write something really quick because here's the thing too. There's so much lore that we've developed in terms of the power struggles, in terms of the factions, in terms of the coalition. We created our own version of the Emperor, for goodness sake, and now you go in the comment section and people are referencing the Premier and the Red Raiders and the Silver Legion division, which is Zane's faction. That's the coolest thing to us in terms of people are getting the world we're setting up, where it's not just maniacal, oh, we're evil and this is good because bring them together, guys. There is a lot of grays. There's a lot of ulterior motives. There's a lot of intent. It's
there's very little black and white in what we're doing. There's a shitload of gray. So where you look at it well, these are the good guys. Well, yeah, but the people that they're going against, why are they not the good guys? They have a valid point to make, Do
you guys have
Oh, I was just going to say, just to toggle it back to Fielding and that story real quick. So I quickly write up something that includes a lot more lore because I wanted to do it. I just didn't think I had time. But I was like, screw it. Let's see if we can make it work in a day. So in the opening narration of episode 2, you're getting a lot more of the exposition, and it's definitely derivative and derived of. I mean, what's Star Wars if not derived from Saturday morning matinees, where the opening crawl is absolutely the opening of last time you see our heroes in peril. Dudley Doom, right, is there with his dog, whatever. And same thing with the Clone Wars cartoons, where you're last week, Anakin Skywalker and General Obi-Wan Kenobi is about to fight some Commando. It's like that. So this is our version of it, but still simplified, but still serving the purpose. But I'm telling you right now, it's one of the best decisions that I'm glad we were able to get in. Because number one, Fielding's amazing. David is amazing. And he is our Zordon. And Zordon we trust. But also, hearing that narration, people are using that dialogue and the conversations in the episode. There's the casual fans who just want to see cool stuff. More power to you. That's great. But there's the ones who are really paying attention, and now they're seeing the story that we're trying to create and the world we're trying to create. So that's been one of the coolest things to me.
Cool. Yeah. And one of my main notes that I probably made more than once was I love how much you guys care. So
Thank you.
through my geek life, you come across this actor or that, and not everybody's always into what you saw, like you were into it. And I talked to Chris at a Morphicon, and right away, man, you started going into the who owned the previous morphers, and I'm just like, oh my god, well, thank you for. I wondered myself, and that you guys are actual fans and giving back, and just can't help but create this is it's really appreciated to me. So,
oh no, thank you. Yeah,
DJ.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What is a body double, and how are you the body double of DJ? Not DJ of LL Cool J.
Well, the body double of DJ because I was born in my. Okay. It's okay. So in a little bit of pulling back the curtains in Hollywood and film productions, there's different levels of actor substitutions. Whether it's, I think the obvious one is stunt double. If an actor's not going to do it, they have somebody else in their likeness perform it for them. So they don't get hurt. So the other thing that's a commonality in Hollywood or in filmmaking in general is having second unit. And what second unit is, if first unit is the main principal actors, second unit is usually the backups, and what doesn't have to be the eight. I don't want to call them the B team because that's not quite right, but it is basically they're doing the other.
I mean, second unit does usually do what's considered B roll.
Right.
There's A roll and B roll, and A roll is exactly what DJ's saying, and B roll is a lot of extras or.
Would this be kind of let's say an actress is on set, the actor he's talking to might not be there at the time, therefore.
So that's what I'm getting. So that's what I'm getting to. So second unit stuff can use first unit people, but they do serve a very specific purpose. While Unit 1 gets the primary stuff, Unit 2 gets the side stuff or the stuff to finish it off or the stuff to complete it. So being a body double, if in order to let's say Todd, LL Cool J, let's say he's needed for Unit 1, they don't necessarily want to bother him to get these insert shots, especially if all you really need is from the neck down. You'll get a body double. That's what I do for him. So I've been doing his body double stuff for NCISLA specifically since the beginning of season 1. And back when I actually had hair, and anyone who knows me personally, they ask hey, did you shave your head just for? I'm like, no, I shaved my head because it was time. because wife let me know. But no, so anytime you see him from the neck down, or you don't clearly see him in a clear juxtaposition to the scene, it's probably me.
Cool. Huh. I don't know a lot about you, DJ, and I'm sorry because. It's fun. I'm not sorry. This is fun finding it out that apparently you're a director and a body double, and I imagine you have some pretty fun stories to tell. But let's stick with Bloodline of the Grid. The other thing I wanted to ask about is props to my buddy Richard Poilucci. I think I said his name right. He made you guys. Yeah, he made you guys as spiral sabers. Him and who else did you guys work with on creating your props, and what was that process like?
Well, he made this the spiral saber that TK uses, and then the one that Andros uses is the spiral reaver. He made those, but we also have our man Daniel, who is our prop master and general all around wonderful guy,
and our project manager. Yeah.
He made Patrick's the Psycho. Is it a Psycho Saber? What is it called?
I'm gonna go with the Psycho Sword.
Psycho Sword. I don't know what it's called.
But always love that design.
I'm sure a fan is yelling at the screen. It's a saber. It's a saber.
Funny thing about this sword, it is the worst put together sword. Not what Daniel did, but I mean the design. The design is terrible because the handle is just garbage.
Because it's wrapping around and makes it hard to wield or something?
Yeah, it makes it so hard to wield the damn thing. It's it was done to look like that purely for aesthetic reasons, but damn, it's such a bitch to use.
So I also want to give a shout out to Ivan Gonzalez, who actually made the foam versions of our swords as well. That's also a Nerdbot friend and connection right there. Between all the props and stuff like that, and this is the reason why Chris calls me a bad man. It's like, unfortunately or fortunately, better for worse, whatever, I'm involved in like every single department. So I am like Daniel. Hello?
Yeah.
Still here.
Oh, okay. It got mad quiet. And I'm telling you right now, I've done this too many times this week where I'm just like, the phone hung up, dude. Why are you talking to me? But no, so it is all the praise in the world for Daniel Castro overseeing as our prop master. Definitely to Ivan Gonzalez with the foam sabers and things like that. He also helped develop some of the Crybot helmets. I worked on a lot of the Crybot helmets and accessories myself. So little bits and everywhere else like that. But there's definitely and Rich, of course, with the original props with the sabers. And let me tell you, man, seeing Chris coming back into the Andros role with a different type of saber. And dude, I don't care how long I've been friends with this man, dude. The moment he's just like, oh yeah, man, that's your saber. I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, oh, well, it's your character saber now. I'm like, no, it's not, dude. That is Andros' saber, bro.
Awesome.
I still get that. Like, I mean, dude, this is the guy himself. I mean, bro, regardless of like the hats I'm wearing in this, man, I'm still a fan. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that we can see you're enjoying it actually does mean a lot. I think, well, at least to me, like as a fan, I enjoy seeing you enjoy it because you're doing what a lot of us would wish we could experience, and it's a lot of fun. Like I think I was gonna say like sincerity goes a long way. And I think that like when we go back to the prequels about like it's saving grace for me was that so after the disappointment of the sequels, I went back to the prequels and I just like took a look at them and went through like a tour of it, then like listened to the commentary. Then like there's like this one guy did like a documentary about like George's life throughout there, and like when you see like the limitations and like flaws he has, and then he still pushed through and made those 3 movies. Like even the flaws start to become beautiful, and
it's endearing.
It's like yeah, it's his sincerity. Like he really cared. Like whether he failed like the romance scenes, whether he failed or not. When I found out that like he was trying to go for the old style of 1940s romances, still only failing. But like to me now it's beautiful because I could see he loved it, just couldn't do it though. But like yeah. And therefore,
I will take the prequels any day of the week because it is from his heart. Regardless if like not enough people probably told him no, it still created a world that's undeniable. You know what I mean? Regardless of execution, there is something genuine about like having someone care about a property. You know, like Anakin Skywalker. It is the story of Anakin. It is about his descent. Now, regardless of the nitpicks we could have, it is still the story he wanted to tell, and that's beautiful.
The tagline of this podcast, my friend Void Cat, she said, "There's no substitute for genuinely giving a shit." And
I love that.
Yeah, that just kind of nailed it. Like, so because like going through my path of like denouncing George Lucas, I sat down with like a friend who's a director, a guy named John Humber. He made a movie called Dakota Sky, and it's amazing. And like so he knows his stuff. So like we were sitting down one time, and he's like telling me about like how he sat down with George Lucas. And like this was in my era of like maybe George Lucas was always a faker, and he goes, "No, Keith, you're just actually wrong here. George Lucas really knows his shit." And like seeing it like his at the time, like I trust him a lot, and like that made me like start to wonder like, oh wait, maybe I wonder if there's something I might be missing. And then the sequels happen, and oh god, we did need him. I'm so sorry, George.
We did need him.
Oh my god, yeah, like the twist turnaround for me was like, ha, see you later, George Lucas. Now, give me the best Star Wars ever. And like then like the Force Awakens happened, I was like thinking about it, going, oh god, okay. It wasn't worse than the prequels, right? Right, Keith? Right? And like I don't think so. And then the Last Jedi happened. And then, like, I just kind of saw, like, the shadow of George Lucas just, like, emerged behind me going, not so easy, is it, motherfucker? And, like, oh, my God, George, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so. He gave you the Obama stare, like, what you look like? So, but no, so really quick. That was
a fun lesson.
Fun is a word for it. But like legitimately, I was caught up on the Star Wars hype train, and I remember leaving The Force Awakens going, okay, that was pretty solid, only to realize it really was just, a New Hope. But
it's a reboot of A New Hope.
It's a complete retelling.
It's a deboot, even.
But they took that idea and they were like, okay, well, like we're gonna do exactly A New Hope, but we're just going to change up some of the characters and whatnot.
Yeah, let me copy your homework. We change it up a little bit. Like, let me copy your homework.
We should do a Star Wars episode sometime. But like, yeah, I could go on.
But I was going to say is like I was so caught up in the execution of it, because actually out of the three of them, The Force Awakens is the best executed. It just says
absolutely.
The pacing is great. The cinematography is great. The quality is freaking fantastic. But I saw the beginning of the end. I mean, regardless, it is definitely the same story, and that's disappointing. But I remember what took me out of it. And yes, I'm saying this as a fan. I'm also saying this as a fan that happens to be of color. When they made Finn's character the janitor in sanitation, I lost my shit.
Dude, okay.
Right now, that hurt my balls. While I could have accepted the entire movie as what it is in terms of a blatant plagiarized, not inspired, not creative version of A New Hope. But that alone, I'm like, did you really have to make the protagonist that defected from being a stormtrooper sanitations? Are you kidding me right now?
What they did to Finn was one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever experienced in cinematic history.
They did him dirty.
Like,
they did him dirty.
I go through all my life of like, the black guy always gets treated like shit in movies, but like Star Wars was different. Like, this is where you don't do it. And then like I was watching the production the entire way, and like before he was Finn, he was Sam, and he was like a Han Solo type character. So like he had the boy and girl character that eventually will probably end up getting together, and they're both like adventurers. So it's like, so when they finally cast John Boyega, I was like, holy shit! Oh my god! We get to have a black man actually get to be either Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. Like, the world has changed. And then you see it, and he's neither. And they go all in on all the worst token black guy tropes. And I was just crestfallen because I thought, like, best Star Wars movie of all time. And now that we've had Obama as president, I guess we get to see a black man get to be a star. And wow. And then, like, I tried to post on my Facebook, and, like, no one wanted to hear it. They wanted to explain to me why it was okay or why it was sexist. Like, the conversations that those movies started were just some of the freaking worst I've experienced. But I will say my favorite one is Rise of Skywalker.
Was it really?
So okay, like on a so eventually there's like a meta level I had to start to try to enjoy these sequels on. And the best thing about Rise of Skywalker is that it knows its shit. It makes no excuses. Like, the bad storytelling.
Wait, what do you mean about knows its shit? I would love to know.
Oh, it knows that it is shit.
I thought you said it knows its shit. I'm like, it's
no.
That good? I'm like, which one did you watch?
What I very much enjoyed was, like, all the way through it, like, the bad storytelling, it stopped trying to hide that it was doing that it might be doing a good job. And then, like, even like the actors and directors, when they do like an interview, like there's like this famous video where like someone goes, "Don't say any words, but tell us with your face, how do you feel about Rise of Skywalker?" They all just excruciating, wincing faces, and like, yeah. So The Force Awakens came out, and like I'm positive there was like a psychological backlash of like Trump winning and people needing this to be their victory. Therefore, like, if you don't like it, then you're an enemy, and it causes some worse conversations. And then, like, therefore, like, people try to treat it as if it was better than it was. Same with The Last Jedi. But The Rise of Skywalker, it knew it was terrible. Everyone, like, no one made excuses for it. You could just speak honestly about it, and there was, like, no, like, weird battles or backlash. So that's why I actually kind of enjoyed. Like, me and my buddies were laughing all the way through it, going, "Oh, thank you for just, like, admitting you guys just totally screwed the pooch on this." So, yeah, that's my...
I mean, I could definitely go on, and I definitely want to get back to Bloodline, but unpopular opinion, like, I still say Force Awakens was the best executed. Like, it just is. It's a pretty movie. If I knew nothing else, I mean, it's still like, you know what, as a Star Wars interpretation, it's solid, right? Minus whatever. They screwed Finn, but they didn't screw him hard until later. Mm-hmm. I honestly think structurally the Rise of Skywalker has cool stuff in it, but it probably is like my least favorite, and in a weird twist of fate or twist of whatever. What I did, I was with you. Like I remember leaving The Last Jedi, and it's like even like the hype of The Force Awakens, it came after the fact because it took me to go, okay, the hype is gone. How do I really feel? And I'm like, it's uninspired, right? The Last Jedi, I remember specifically walking out that movie going, that was trash, right?
I walked out fooling myself saying, because like I was a Rian Johnson fan. Since it's like I'm like a big movie snob once upon a time, and I love like snobby filmmakers, and Rian Johnson appeared on the screen, so I followed all of his movies, listened to all of his commentary. So I was like, Last Jedi, guys, is going to be the greatest movie everybody's ever seen. Watch my boy Rian Johnson do this, and that was not even a good Rian Johnson movie, and like a lot of it didn't feel like it was him. So yeah.
Oh no, it's a Kathleen Kennedy movie for sure. But my point is, even though I left that movie going, okay, not trash in the sense of like in a sense of like, yo, throw the whole garbage can away, just trash in terms of like, what did I just watch, right? But looking now today years old DJ, it probably is one of the most Star Wars feeling. It actually is not as bad as I thought it was. It doesn't mean it was good. It also doesn't mean there's a lot of stuff I wouldn't do different. The whole thing on the casino planet was garbage. There's a lot wrong with the movie.
That made me so uncomfortable because that's what you do to a character when you don't have anything planned. Right down to, strangely enough, John Boyega's costumes were always recycled from somebody else.
For sure. But also not only did they not achieve anything, they made the situation worse. But anyways, I digress. But in terms of taking the risk, though, in terms of like leaning into Kylo Ren, embracing himself as a bad guy, like in other words, at least it was the most inspired at the time. Where the first one was a copycat, the third one was just like, hey, we got to wrap this up by any means. And
the second one, I saw ideas that didn't have execution, but I do want to get to Bloodline still. I got more questions.
I will shut up. Go ahead.
No. It's both. It's all of us because like it's fun and I could go on. But the other question I got is the music. Holy hell, that music was great. Well mixed, well paced. I found myself like noticing that I'm like slowly bobbing my head to it and stuff. Like, oh, okay, like how'd you find your music person? What was the music process like? Tone and whatever.
Yeah. So, Chris, talk about some of your influences, man, and then I'll give props where I need to give props and talk about DeVell.
Well, I mean, DeVell is our guy that did all the music, and you're the one that found him. So,
oh yeah, sure. I guess my point is like Chris has a very diverse array of appreciation to music. Like he loves blues and things like that. But the one thing we both have in common is character and making sure it pronounces what's happening on screen, right? So it's that in
that's a very Star Wars thing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Making sure that the music is its own character. Like if there's like three characters in, there's four characters because of the music. So DeVell Sullivan is this very talented musician. I want to say he's from the Czech Republic. And, I do my thing in terms of sourcing and, networking, et cetera, et cetera. That's how I find most of my talents and our crew and our new family members and things like that. And, sometimes they work out great. Sometimes they don't work out, whatever. That's life. Now, DeVell, I got very lucky in coming across. He's not necessarily the biggest Power Ranger fan, and that helps because he's going strictly off of instinct, but he's very much an open sponge and a dry sponge in terms of being able to soak up references and inspirations and things like that. Funny enough,
ending theme, Jesus, there's like the ending theme of In Space, but like it's different. Like goddamn, like so good.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. And the thing about it is, in terms of the process, I definitely do the thing where I do try to at the very least, without trying to micromanage, I do try to find at the very least, whether it's through Spotify, YouTube, or whatever, man, I find pieces that kind of inspire me for that scene. And I might give that as a reference in addition to notes. So that's my process, right? And then send it over. Since we have the picture lock, obviously the picture needs to be locked in order for anybody to compose. It's not just about, hey, a little bit of song here, a little bit of song there. Everything needs to flow naturally. And if you watch the episode. The opening scene is not the same as the narration. The narration is not the same as the Crybot sequence, and even the chase versus the fight. And then once Andros like arrives like a badass, shout out to you, Chris. It's a completely different feel of badassery, and it's time to get shit done. Same thing with one of my favorite pieces is actually the training sequence with Sam. Like it's a very Tron-like kind of synthetic sound, but this dude did all of it, and he can do fusion orchestra if he wanted to. He can do retroactive if he wanted to, and even the morph sequence specifically. I'm like, okay, I need you to like not do anything that's longer than 3 seconds if you're gonna pay reference to the theme songs. Then I want you to change it up here, and then go off. And then there's
Nice.
there's also certain pieces where I'm like, I don't know what I want here. Go have fun with it because I trust him. I legitimately trust him. Now, the ending credit song is a song called "Monster Inside."
Yes,
it's developed by Devell Sullivan, sang by Ryan Strain. And dude, I gave him the free range in terms of inspiration, which of course, like, dude, I can't speak for you, Keith, but Ron Weisman's like Power Rangers is like near and dear to me. I think it got a lot of the brothers in the hood into like rock and guitar, you know what I'm saying? And just like,
yeah, I apologize to all of my loved ones that I forced that soundtrack onto on a regular basis in car rides. So yeah, that was
so
fine.
yeah, so just guitar riffs in general and just going off, you know what I mean? It made us love this stuff, right? So having that in there too is just like was important. And then that's like if you can sprinkle the sense of In Space, like just the theme song of In Space in there, just sprinkle it. Don't copy it. Don't just inspired by it. Put everything together. That's where we got Monster Inside. Devell Sullivan, he's the type of dude that would do this for free because he believes in our project so much. That's the artist in him. But I'm like, no, dude, like we're still dropping a bag on you. Thank you very much, but you're amazing.
The ending theme actually sticks in my mind long after it's done. Like it's in my head right now. So yeah, that was some straight fire right there.
No, Devell Sullivan, all him, amazing, talented guy that plays almost every instrument. Like Devell Sullivan, shout out to him.
Christopher, you worked with a Golden Girl? What?
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Many years ago.
Yeah, I started clipping through Safe Harbor just to see what it was like. And what was working with Golden Girl like? What was?
Well, it wasn't just that because on Safe Harbor it was Rue Blanche from the Golden Girls. Then it was Gregory Harrison who was Trapper John.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I will say that. I had the greatest time working with Rue. She was a fucking doll. I loved her. She was so sweet. She was so wonderful. And I remember I did a scene one day. I cannot remember what it was, but she was there. She wasn't in the scene, but she was just on set watching. And after we wrapped up the scene, she kind of pulled me aside and she says, I wanted to tell you this. You really, really remind me of a young William Holden. And I was like, I have no idea who that is, but I'm going to take that as a compliment. Thank you so much, Rue. And she did, of course, she did mean that as a compliment. William Holden was an actor many, many decades ago.
Yeah, looking him up, he looks like he's a legend.
Very, very well respected actor and all that. And she was so wonderful, and she had such wonderful stories about Betty White.
Oh man,
and her very filthy mouth.
Cool. And would you say the feel of being doing Safe Harbor versus Power Rangers, like was Safe Harbor like almost like vacation since you didn't have to do triple kicks and backflips and like what was it like? The comparison between the two.
I mean, yeah, it's shorter hours and way more pay. And
cool.
And yeah, I'm not like killing myself working out with stuntmen and coming home broken and bloody and all that every day. So yeah, it was I mean, obviously there's a lot more focus on the acting in it. Power Rangers is, all right guys, ready? And that's a whole scene. Because the next thing you know, you got like 2 minutes of 5 different people transforming, in which this is all time that the bad guys could be shooting them and winning the fight. But, hey,
ruining
whatever. Yeah, but still, I'm in it for the win. So if somebody starts to transform into a Power Ranger in front of me and I have a gun, I'm shooting them immediately. I'm not letting them finish their sentence.
That's just like the Red Raider would do.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to the creative process as far as Chris and I. And that's the good thing, because we actually balance each other's equations, where he's just like, we should do this, but what about this? All right, we'll meet in the middle.
I've watched you guys on a couple podcasts, and I really do enjoy you guys' chemistry. You guys are a lot of fun. I'm glad that you guys, found each other so that you can create stuff that brings a lot of joy to these fans. And I got one other question for Chris. You survived a poisonous snake bite. Why were you a little child near a poisonous snake?
Wait! What did I miss?
There was a random thing that he said. You were interviewing him, and he said this randomly. And I was like, wait, what? How would that situation even happen?
Okay, so this, I can't remember how old I was. I think I was 13, 14, something like that. I lived in Virginia Beach at the time, and in the neighborhood, I don't know, somebody, I guess, ran over a snake. They ran over his tail, and a bunch of kids, they saw it, and they had got it, they picked it up with a branch or something like that, and it just wasn't moving. It was just just there, floppy and all that. So they were showing it to me, and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool, and it fell. And then, genius that I am, I reached down to pick it up, and it was not dead. It was very much alive, and it lunged forward, and it got, the fleshy part of your hand, between your thumb and then your first finger.
Yes, I have experienced this wound from a cat once.
Well, this snake bit me there, and it got its fangs right through that. And it got stuck on my hand for a few moments. And I'm shaking this bastard off of me like crazy. And finally it came off. And when it came off of my hand, it started just puking up venom. It was it was like tons of venom. It was, I think it was a copperhead. I'm pretty sure it was, and I just kind of when I saw that, and I saw this just this pile of venom on the ground, I was like, oh shit, that was kind of close.
I am glad you're still with us. That is, that was a throwaway, you just said, I almost got you bit with a poisonous snake. Wait. So many questions.
That was
the most Chris story I've ever heard.
DJ, this question for both of you, but first DJ, both of you guys, martial art backgrounds. DJ, do you have a training? Because some of the moves I was watching, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good. Do you train, or do you just train for that scene?
Grew up boxing, taekwondo, and Muay Thai.
Cool. And then Chris?
I did Judo Kwan style taekwondo before I did Power Rangers, but I learned probably 10 times more just from the stuntmen, working out with them and letting them beat the shit out of me constantly.
Cool. Cool. And then let's see. And we don't have to go too much longer. If you guys feel free, let me know when you guys are getting tired and need to go. But I have a few more questions. One of them is the birth of creativity, such as there's 2 questions. One of them is going to be asking, what were your play patterns like when you were a kid? Then the next one is what would you say is your greatest inspiration to create stories? So first one is DJ, what was your play patterns like? Did you action figures? Were you creating stories? Were you recreating scenes? Were you just making dioramas? What did you do as a kid? What was your thing?
Dang, shout out to you for the original question I've ever had.
Yeah.
No, I mean that.
I just want to say really quickly, the reason this came up was it's part of the Star Wars thing. All these weird conversations I have, how bad it was. I was saying so wait, what background did they come from where they don't see it? Such as these people that really did love it. When they played with their Star Wars toys, all they would do is try to recreate exactly what they saw. So The Force Awakens, doing exactly what they saw. It's just like, well, that's just what Star Wars is. So what was it like when you were a kid?
For me, I was definitely a big action figure kid. Ninja Turtles was definitely in my life. Maybe like X-Men figures, things like that. And I was always the kid where, I don't know, maybe it's like a testament to me being half Asian and my mom being Filipino. It was crazy. But I would always keep it organized and structured. So when I had my toys, it's not like they were just like in one big toy box or anything. Like I tend to have them in a very, very specific diorama. I remember back in the day, there used to be like this Ninja Turtle sewer playset, and I used to have like all my characters in very specific positions, or at least I would put them in very specific poses and things like that. But when I used to play, I mean, of course, I took the characterizations from the TV show and then let the imaginations kind of go off in that direction. And I feel like that definitely had a impact on my creative process.
That sewer set is amazing, by the way.
Oh yeah, so you get it. So that was back in the day where they gave a crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just accessories and accessorizing, and I mean, as an adult looking back, you see the commercialism about it, but it still did give like the freedom of, okay, we're going to get into this vehicle and then go over here, but this personality would do this and this personality would do that. So absolutely playing with figures, coming up with scenarios in my head and storylines in my head was definitely present. What was the second question? Sorry.
First, I want to go to Chris and ask him the same question. The second question is going to be, who would like some of your biggest inspirations to create stories?
Gotcha.
Chris, though, what was your story? What was your childhood like?
Excuse me. Well, I was a kid in the '80s, and so we had like all the best cartoons and shit like that. And but also like the second movie that I ever saw in a movie theater was Return of the Jedi. That like just enraptured me with Star Wars. That was like it for me. After I saw Return of the Jedi, I went and saw that with my cousins, and they told me years later, they were like, yeah, when you were watching that, like your eyes were like as big as dinner plates, your jaw was wide open and shit, and you were just like because everybody is real, Jabba the Hutt, he's real. It's not a couple of guys in the suit. Chewbacca, that's a real guy. All the Ewoks, they're real. So I had like tons and tons and tons of Star Wars action figures. But again, also, kid in the '80s, so I had like a million G.I. Joe characters and a lot of Transformers. So for me, it was like, let's put them all together. Let's have everybody fight each other or something.
There we go. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it was, how well does G.I. Joe stack up against Transformers? And the short answer is not well. The Transformers will kick their asses.
I real quick, no one asked me. No, that's okay. I'm just saying really quickly. My start was also same as both of you guys. When it came to, I was a child of the '80s, and like my toys were props, so that like I would never actually use like He-Man as He-Man. He-Man was usually like me as a barbarian, and then like they take on certain roles, so like they're rarely ever actually Galvatron or Hot Rod, and the creation process. I'm losing my train of thought, which is like I was just saying, like how wondering like the way we played is how we end up creating. So and then also seeing like the starship scene, the set that actually felt like when I was a kid, how we would repurpose like a porch or bedroom and turn it into a starship, and I was loving all the interaction that was going on that. How long did it take to create the starship set? And how much fun was that?
Well, did you want the influence or you want that question? Which one you want to do?
Frau. Okay, let me go for influences first and then starshipping.
Okay. Your show, man. I'm just here for the ride.
No, please.
But no, as far as influences, man, shoot. I think the cool thing about our family is no matter what, we're all nerds about something, man. And I think a lot of us do love, like Chris and I love Dragon Ball Z for sure. Like we love Dragon Ball Z. I don't think we intentionally go into anything like, hey, let's definitely make it Gohan and Piccolo, but we definitely can appreciate like, oh, we actually do have that kind of dynamic. Like, I don't think we do anything so derived to where it's just like, we need to make it exactly like this, but the influence about the things that we like is definitely present. So anime for sure, cartoons and 80s cartoons for sure. Shooting style wise, I am a fan of, Edgar Wright and J.J. Abrams' eyes is amazing to me. Like cinematically, I love his shooting style, regardless if you are a fan of his movies or not, and if he's notoriously known for lens flares or not. I do think he has a very, very specific talent of keeping things alive and interesting, even if it's a conversation piece. If you notice in Bloodline, there's several, and again, there's no quote unquote right way to filmmake. That's the reason why it's filmmaking. Now, I think the one rule that you don't break is like the 180 rule. Like, other than that, try to be technically savvy. But like, for instance, there's several scenes of Bloodline where there's a conversation, but the camera's still moving the entire time. Like small little orbits and small little breathing, exposition and composition like that takes a scene that's just like, hey, a camera's on a tripod and people are talking, and turns it into a group dialogue. And I think it's always and I'll say this with Chris, I think we successfully had a scene where there was like about 5 people, and it did feel like it was a giant room of a conversation that kept on going.
Including there are 2 shots like that I loved so much. There's like an opening with you, Chris, and Patrick, where the camera like organically moves. You can barely tell that it's happening all in one shot, but one person talks and like the blocking works so that someone's naturally in the center of the shot, and it was fantastically done. The question on that was that you? Was that the DP? And then also, did you guys figure it out ahead of time, or is this like a thing that you like troubleshot when you were doing the scene?
I definitely have a shot list in mind. It's also a credit to the DPs as well to bring that vision to life. So the way I would answer it is, no matter what, it's the DP, because you could have all the ideas in the world, but if they're not capturing it, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But in terms of positioning, in terms of composition, I have that all in mind. Now, we don't have the luxury, especially because, the pandemic was a thing, or is a thing, or that happened. So we don't necessarily have all the ability to be able to be like, hey, we're going to meet on this night and this night and this night just to shoot. As much as I would love for it to be like a full-time job for all of us, we're all doing this, making the time out of our schedules and our lives and our different obligations, you know what I mean? So a lot of it is happening the day of, and we're doing our best to, acclimate my shot list. And like, for instance, I'm absolutely doing the thing with my hands, holding up the 2 fingers and the L sign, acting like a camera. And I'm showing them, hey, I want to start from a down up position. Well, let's use a 10 millimeter, bring it up this way. And I want you to rotate. And this entire time I want you to orbit. So it would be great to have rehearsal days. It would be great to have like rehearsal shoot days, but it is actually a testament to our DPs, which is Asen Rose and Shelton Perry. And they all bring something very unique to the table. Even Sean Swanson did second unit stuff for us. And even John Tiang, our coordinator, definitely did second unit stuff for the action stuff. So being able to utilize their strengths and in a very specific way, I felt like we had certain scenes that we were able to keep not boring. And I'm very thankful to be able to work with these individuals, because, again, we're doing this. Even though I could have everything ready, they have to adjust to it the day of, for sure.
This sounds like so much fun. And yeah, thank you. Okay, and then Chris, who would you say is your biggest influences for being creative?
Oh God, man, I don't know. As a kid, I was like,
Star Wars.
I was always,
Star Wars, and then
Star Wars. Yeah, Mr. Star Wars. That was my biggest influence, Mr. Star Wars. I started writing when I was a kid. Like I was 12 years old, and excuse me, I don't know. Two of the biggest things that were influences for me as far as books go, they were both the Alice's Adventures in Wonderland series, that one, and Through the Looking Glass, so Lewis Carroll. the writing in it was fantastic to me. And then I also really liked the artwork in it too, because it was so not childish. It was very dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked that. And then I also, as far as like a writer goes, I loved Robert Frost's poetry. I thought that it also had a very kind of a bleak. I mean, that obviously more than Lewis Carroll stuff. It had more of a bleak look to it. But I mean, even if you look at Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, it's like this shit gets dark.
Cool.
So I don't know. That's probably good for me as far as writing goes and all that. I'm not as much of a filmmaker as DJ is. He definitely knows his shit. I definitely know shit about it. So.
It seems like together you guys know your shit. So it's
together we make
combination.
And that's like 90% him.
All right.
I also want to, not to take too much time. It's just that, dude, it is like, when I say things like, I'm grateful to work with Chris, like, it's not as like, hey, look, I get to do Power Rangers. Like, working with him is actually such a creative freedom. Because like there's a certain amount of trust that you kind of give to each position, right? I mean, we're co-creators, we're co-writers, but like giving your baby and care to other individuals takes a certain amount of trust, and vice versa. There's several scenes throughout our process that did not start the way we like. Case in point, Chris coming in a bolt of lightning was a revision the day of.
Yeah.
Like little things like that. If you want to talk about the red psycho sword / saber being a pain in the ass, the reason why we said that is because the day of the handle broke.
Oh,
yep.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So not to do too much BTS, but like I'm sorry.
I love BTS. And then like also like the thing that comes to mind is like the lightning bolt seems completely natural. What else would he have done? What's supposed to be done?
No, that's more than fair. But here's the thing: it was going to be a lot more simplified. Okay, so my biggest thing is in episode 1. Shut up, computer. The thing is, TK in episode 1 comes in teleporting. You know, a very simple effect, but very indicative of Star Trek and turbo teleporting. But modernized. I was afraid to repeat that, so I didn't necessarily want Chris to come in teleporting. But the end result is like, no, that is way more than teleporting. He comes in like a freaking nature, right? But the original concept was we were going to do a creative shot where we look up, you see the astral glider fly by, and then you see him jump all the way down and land.
That's rad.
It still would have been badass. It still would have been cool, but it wouldn't have been Chris coming in a bolt of lightning, sir.
Yeah. The lightning is far more visual storytelling.
I like the lightning more than the galaxy glider.
The Galaxy Glider, I love the Galaxy Glider a lot. I think I like it. I like it better, but for what you guys are doing, this is the better call. Like,
yeah, sure.
Like the Galaxy Glider, I think would have been like, oh yeah, that's what he does. But this adds to your imagination, where you have to start asking more questions, like what's going on with Andros. So well done.
But it's also a form of, like you said, storytelling. It does give a little bit more. There's I could probably say like almost everything in this episode can be utilized as something that enhances the plot. I can honestly say that to the point where if you go to the comment section now, which thank God they're back up, we could talk about that some other day. Mm-hmm. But there was a good 5 days where the comments unfortunately had to be disabled by YouTube, but it's fixed now. Not to segue, but people in the comment section are having dialogue about the little story points, and not to the point where they're talking about the Crybots. They're literally talking about the henchmen that you usually do not give a crap about. And lines like, "Oh, the Crybots have GE. They have great energy. They were able to deflect certain attacks because and all of a sudden, and also lines like, "Oh, since when can you guys fight?" People are putting 2 and 2 together. This is like, yeah, that line makes so much sense because all of a sudden you have great energy. You're all of a sudden a martial art, stuff like that. So the Galaxy Glider part would have been cool, and we would have done it in a cool way. Very akin to like Kamen Rider. They have very specific ways as far as having, people in suits fly crazy. But this gives you like, okay, once you get the Ecliptor reveal, Ecliptor threw lightning all the time. Even little nods like if you go back, Keith, since you missed it the first time of him being done, No, but like even the way he throws his lightning, go back to the way Ecliptor throws his attacks and his lightning attacks. He does a very specific hand gesture in front of his face and then throws it.
Yes.
Chris does that in this episode and in the first episode, and everything and his powers, his power scaling is a reflection of his transformation of Ecliptor. And that's the other thing we're trying to do with this narrative too, is kind of create that world building of power scaling. We acknowledge that Chris is a level 6 ranger, and there's only rare individuals who even meet that type of stuff. And that's definitely an influence of like X-Men and like Omega 5 mutants and blah, 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 blah. And at this point, Andros is at a certain level of the grid energy. And as a fighter, that there's not a lot of people who can mess with him. That doesn't mean there's no threat. That doesn't mean there's no threat to him. And
so he does still have a connection. So he does still have a connection to the grid, and he still is a ranger.
Bloodline of the grid, babe.
Oh, okay.
I'm being facetious, obviously. There is a very specific backstory which we would love to flesh out much later. Chris has an amazing story to tell about Ecliptor's transformation, but he is definitely still connected to the grid, and we wanted to do more than just, like you said, just transform Andros just for the sake of transforming him. He absolutely has a significant connection to the grid. He has him and Corone both, but specifically Andros has a very specific relationship to the grid, which means Ecliptor has a very specific relationship to the grid. Now, how did Ecliptor transform from that connection to the grid to Ecliptor to producing Andros and Corone? You just have to wait and see.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
Hopefully I explained that right, Chris.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Let's see, Chris. The planet Onyx. You guys had like a Q&A session, and you didn't know where Onyx was. Do you know where it is now?
Not off the top of my head.
That's okay. Yeah, because like I was like thinking like because it's one of my favorite planets in Power Rangers in space, and then it hit me like how no one in the show actually ever says that. I don't think so. It's the Cowboy Planet. And I I've watched that episode several times. I think it's like the Delta Discovery where Andros does the cloak and fights in the cowboy.
That's Flashes of Darkonda.
Flashes of Darkonda.
That was because that's my favorite episode because that's the one where we totally ripped off the Star Wars Cantina.
Oh, yep. Yeah. And
the Mos Eisley one.
Yeah. There's like a sword that you grab from one of the bad guys there. I love that sword so much.
Yeah.
I've looked at it. I've watched that episode so many times. Like, it's always fun to me when like a hero picks up not his signature weapon. It's always fun to watch. Let's see. I think I have a few more questions.
Wait. Let me get this straight. So they didn't say the word Onyx, but it's known as Planet Onyx.
Like when you the voiceover guy would say on Planet Onyx.
Oh, got it.
But no one, like, Andros was never saying, so I'm on Onyx right now.
Got it. Can I just mention like another quick BTS in terms of like freak accidents? And that was kind of the point of like picking up our collaborative thing. So the feedback and changes on set have been some of the best accidents. And the reason why I'm so appreciative of Chris is because we are able to kind of on the fly come up with certain things. And it is a testament of our relationship. And thank you so much, Keith, and everybody else. Like, one of the biggest compliments as well is people really appreciating the dynamics with the characters. And we love banter. We love storytelling and still be able to convey, characterization. And like case in point, BTS wise, like the Psycho Red Sword had broke, and the original concept of the Andros and Virgil clash was actually supposed to be a sword fight.
Yeah.
Like literally the power beam struggle with the lightning was supposed to be a sword fight. That was never supposed to happen.
But
the handle broke that day, and and then Daniel worked his ass off to get it back together, and he did a beautiful job. But it was just not going to be ready to do anything with it.
It wasn't worth the risk
for that. Yeah,
it wasn't worth the risk.
Yeah, so it was a very quick, on the fly decision that Andros does lightning now, so let's do something with that because we ain't using the swords.
There's been so many conversations where I'll be like, Chris, sidebar, and then like the crew and everything but chilling out or waiting what we're about to do, and I was like, my biggest concern was I didn't want to have to worry about the handle because everything we execute so far, we want the standards. We want to be able to do it and not have to worry. So it was literally sidebars like, hey, dude, what do you think about this idea? Second Rangers do lightning, you do lightning, quick beam struggle, still conveys the same thing. And also, I think we're going pretty long in the fight anyways, but it also, whatever. And then bam, 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 ready, break. Okay, guys, you know that entire fight sequence we're about to do? Yeah, we're not doing that. All right, so we're about to Dragon Ball Z the shit out of this.
Yep.
Awesome.
And then even like certain dialogues where we knew there was something like, again, whereas I wear a lot of hats, Chris is always busy, that kind of stuff. So sometimes there's certain dialogues we would come up with on the fly. Case in point, there's been some. Oh, Patrick's for sure. Oh yeah, we can talk about Patrick's too. But like one of the big like this has been commented on, so I appreciate it. But like even the dialogue between TK and Andros, where we're like, okay, so what's the plan? And Andros is like, kill them all. Like that was so improv. Like all of that was so improv because we didn't know exactly what we wanted to say. I had like a brief outline. I'm like, what if I say this? Then you say this. You say this. So what would you say back? I would just say, kill them all. Okay, great. Action.
It works.
I'm sorry. I get excited about the BTS and changes. But anyways, it's a testament.
Yeah, this is what I'm here for. A question. Let's see. There was one shot of the Crybots that looked grainy, as if it was mimicking Sentai footage. Was I seeing things, or did you do that on purpose?
I'm gonna say you were seeing things.
Damn it!
Yeah.
God. Yeah. Okay. There's one other person. Like I was watching this other person who was watching the episode, and he also saw it too. Like there's like a shot like where like it was just me though. Never mind. Like I thought you were doing homage, which I was like,
listen. Cool. As much as I would love to take credit for things, I can't say that I can't say we deserve credit on that one.
Gotcha, if that happened, then that was unintentional. I don't remember there being a grainy shot, but I mean,
the color grading looks like a tiny different than everything else. For like when you see them standing next to each other, and then for me, it was like, oh, cool, kind of like when you switch to Sentai footage, but it was just me. So cool.
It was not done intentionally, but hey, if that's the way it was going to be taken, then great, go for you.
Yeah. It made me smile. It lit a star in my heart. So
well, I'm sorry that we didn't do it on purpose.
I think I've got almost everything. Is there anything you guys wanted to touch on that I haven't gotten to yet?
Mainly just the unsung heroes of the project. We mentioned Daniel Castro, as we mentioned, our project manager. Also Brandon Hosang, who assisted with sound and lights as well as equipment. We call him A-Team Band because he has like an A-Team band of just all the things. Definitely Jerry Cotto, who's our co-producer. Obviously, Colin and Airbus Studios. Also. Mohammed, who also assisted with effects, Drew, John Tiang and the stunt guys have been fantastic. Of course, the cast and crew. Blessings to Justin Nemo, Roger Velasco, Rory Travis, Christina Ho, all just being so down for the cause, and all the other Rangers who want to work with us now, and that's amazing. And just the Ranger family in general, and also just the fans, man. Like the reception has been very overwhelming. I mean, if we do have like since you've gotten a lot of your questions out, like I'll go into this like a little bit. I'll try not to take too much time. But what happened was with YouTube, the algorithm was going great. Our reception is going great. We released it on a Tuesday that we had planned for. It's right on schedule. And then literally a day and a half later, YouTube marks it for kids. At the date of today's recording, it's been lifted, so everything is good and fine. So fast forward to that end. But for the entire week, nobody's been able to leave comments. And as soon as it got lifted again, people rushed back just to kind of talk about it more and have the discussion more. So we can't be any more proud and thankful for people paying attention and caring this much about what we're doing. Because none of us are getting rich off of this. And we all are doing it because it's something we would love to see happen. And we're hoping that everyone likes it as well. Also on my end, and I keep saying this throughout the podcast, is because I feel like I really mean this, and it's just so valuable to me. Working with Chris specifically has been such a fantastic experience because, again, I was a fan first, turned friend, and then put in a position where there's a lot of trust being given. And I always use this metaphor all the time. It's like, let's just say 5 guys trying to pick up a girl. They're all dressed the same dialogue, what have you, but their personalities are themselves. So that's good. person number one, you're not my type. Person number two, you're a little bit too nice. Person number three, stranger danger. Person number four, God, there's something about you. And then person number five, again, same dialogue, same attire, but there's something about that connection that makes it work. There's something about that relationship, that undefined that makes that relationship work. And that's what Chris and I have. We bring a little bit something different to the table where, like, Chris has a very specific story to tell, and that's important to me. My element is also world building and connecting it to what we love, which is Power Rangers. And Chris is one of the biggest proponents to his fans. Like, I love the way he interacts with his fans, and he loves doing this for the fans. I mean, again, this is a very popular character that was introduced in Power Rangers.
Could so not appreciate it more.
It's just a humbling experience to be able to work with him. So that's all I have to say. And if there's anybody else,
dude, you very much earned it. So God bless you. I'm glad you got there, and that you guys made. Once again, what I see on screen is wish fulfillment of fans, and like you guys are just giving back. So it's been a lot of fun to watch and watch you guys create a process. I am thankful for you guys talking to me at all. And then the one last question.
Well, real quick. I didn't want that to be all about me, man. Chris, no. Please, like, I didn't want that to be just mine. I was just going to go me, then you, but Chris, please, if there's anything you want to say, shout it out.
You made me blush. Shut up.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to say I'll say the last question that would be, how did Carlos get added? Like, what was the process? When did that happen? Was that last second? Was this also an accident or planned? Or because it's fun to see him as a bounty hunter.
Yeah. It's a funny thing. DJ and I have a thing that we say, particularly about Bloodline all the time. Fans ask something, they want something, whatever. We always come back to them with, we'll do something if it makes sense. If we can make it work, and if it makes sense, then, we'll give it a go. We kind of felt like this would make sense as a natural progression for Carlos. Some guy who is stuck out in space. He doesn't know what to do with his life, whatever, yada, yada. And that was also, I guess, kind of another one of our happy little accidents with getting him on board, like we did with Patrick, what we did with Dave doing the narration and all that. We definitely, like, immediately the idea was he's the Mandalorian. We're gonna make him the Mandalorian.
Hell yeah!
I don't know if it's immediate, but once we hit the Mandalorian, we were like, yes.
It definitely fell into place. It like, once that was brought up, that's what we kind of wanted for the character. It was like, yeah, you know what? Now this makes a lot of sense, and now we got a guy who's like, who's bounty hunter-y. So I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's interesting the way you packaged that, Keith, because like it really was everything you said. Like, it was planned, but it was an accident, but it was also very specific, but it was also subject to change. One of many discussions as far as Bloodline is, like, of course we're exploring characters that we love, but also, again, one of the biggest beauty I feel like of Bloodline and the extended universe in general is you're getting to see these Rangers interact that you probably will not get to see interact in person. Outside of the show, in the show, I mean, like, having Rory, and I'll get back to Andrew in a minute, but having Rory, like literally Devins interact with Andros is amazing to me.
Yes, it is.
And even like having Christina, even though Christina's part of Beast Morphers, her inclusions did serve a very specific plot. You know what I mean? And narration, because she is the daughter of the general, and of course she brings a certain element of humor as well as. And Christina's a fantastic actress.
She actually hit you
a few times.
That was I loved you guys' interaction. That was a lot of fun to watch. And then I suspected that you guys just wouldn't be able to help yourselves from actually letting her hit you. So I was just wondering.
I mean, eventually it became like, we can't do this while stage straight face, so we'll try to make adjustments. but also she's really sweet, and she just is like, I don't want to hurt you. I'm like, you're fine. Yes. And mind you, I'm all of like 6'1", and she's like all of 5'5", -2".
Yeah.
So the height difference, we didn't even bother apple boxing her. We're just like, we're gonna keep what it is. We're just you're short. You're just short.
Cool.
But anyways, getting back to Roger, we did know we wanted to every single character we introduced, we want to make sure it's a progression in character, not a regression of character. You know what I mean? Andros is in a
Hello?
What?
Uh-oh.
DJ.
Oh, no. We lost him. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I had a call. My bad. So as far as Roger, we always wanted to end the episode on a cliffhanger as far as us getting attacked, and then as far as the conversation, like Roger, awesome dude. He had one request / demand with his involvement, which he was always down for, which was make me a badass.
Cool.
And again, our response is we'll try to make it make sense, and if we're able to, great. But as
Got out again.
Hello?
Yeah, good.
Someone keeps trying to call me, and I'm trying to keep denying them. But yeah, so as the conversation kept going on, it was more like availability, the stars aligned and even like the future progression that we can't talk about yet. You're going to see some really cool things as far as, so that's what Carlos has been up to. So no matter who we incorporate, whether it's from the same season, different seasons, and I love seeing the different seasons interact. I love seeing Devin have a conversation with Andros and Psycho Red. And I love the fact that there is that world build in terms of even their incorporation of the Grid Battle Force is very specific. I don't know, man.
Yeah, you guys are using government-sponsored Rangers. Is that intentional?
Oh, very much so. We're building that world, which is why like even that line as far as government sanctioned Rangers isn't anything new. That's a very existing kind of thing. Not everything is always magic and relevant.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking how it's kind of fun to even think about it like that, like factions of Rangers, government, Dino, ninjas, maybe car Rangers even. So that was a fun thing to drop that like makes the world building start to unfold and take place in your mind when like you just hear like a small line like that. So loved it.
Yeah.
Does Carlos' ship have a name?
I'm sorry?
Carlos's ship, does it have a name?
Oh, does Carlos's ship have a name?
I think we were thinking about Night Lancer, and the only reason why we even thought about that is because it's like a nod to his in space weapon.
Nice, great name. All right. Yeah, I love how you guys geek. I love that you guys care. It's always fun to listen to you guys, and I'm glad to have you on. All right. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Do you have anything else we should be touching on?
DJ, do you want to say anything?
More
final words.
No, Chris, you take over, man. I'll go last, I guess.
Oh, I'm just gonna plug. I live stream all the time, so I would love it if everybody could check that out.
Oh, absolutely. Like at the very end, we say, "Where do you find more of you on the internet?"
Oh, okay. I thought that's what we were getting at. I don't know. If we're not doing that yet, then I don't know.
I will say this. Like, I do want to thank everyone for being so receptive to something that is a passion project for us. You know what I mean? There's been many Ranger-related projects in the past. Some that we see the light of day, others that never see the light of day. And the fan base has been very, very receptive to our story that we're trying to tell, and the progression of these characters that we're trying to share with you guys. And this wouldn't be possible without the help, and we may need help in the future. But just the continued support and keeps us wanting to make more for you guys, so we are able to just basically expand an already big universe.
You guys have my complete support. Anything I can do, because you guys nailed it. Like I'm loving all the different shades of like the fan movies and series that I'm seeing, where you get like different things. No one's like really trying to hit the exact same thing, and it's been a lot of fun. Like Unworthy is a very interesting horror movie, it looks like. This is just like kind of like, once again, things I wished for. What did Andros end up doing? Where is Carlos? Oh, TJ has a son, so thank you guys so much. I've had so much fun watching it over again, researching it, and I'm with DJ. Chris, you're quite legendary for me, man. Like, you and the character that you guys created has influenced my love of fiction ever since. And like my daydreams, like I said, like the Power Rangers in Space was the Beast Wars moment where instead of just like going ha ha ha, oh, awesome action, all of a sudden in my Power Rangers I got legit world building and story progression and characters who had lives beyond the show that I was watching. So it's an honor, man.
Well, thank you very much, bro.
All right, DJ, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
I have an IMDb. If you just want to look up stuff I've been involved in, you can look up DJ Rivers IMDb. As far as social media, I only have Facebook. Oh, no, I only have Instagram, to be honest with you, as far as any type of following. I don't Twitter. I'm so boring. It's not even funny. I barely post on my stuff, but I do post stories a lot. But you can find me at dj.2.rivers. So the little period. So dj.2.rivers. That's where you can find me on social media. I definitely recommend checking out Chris's streaming channel. It's a good time. It keeps it positive, keeps it light, keeps it real, but keeps it respectful. Definitely tell your friends to tune in. And the more he gets that support, the more we can keep doing this type of stuff. So it's a team effort, and we want to keep the team strong and alive. And just thank you guys.
Cool. All right. And you can find me on Twitter at Keith Hayward. Chris, did you want to, like DJ actually said where we could find you, but Chris, do you want to say for yourself where we could find more of any of your work?
Sure. The two primary things, because I have I have all of the I got Instagram, I got Facebook, I got Twitter and all that stuff. But the primary one out of that is Instagram. Christopher Khayman Lee. Just look for the blue check, then you found me. And and then I live stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and that's Chris Khayman Lee. So easy peasy.
Right on. I'll be watching. And you can find me on Twitter at Keith Hayward. I'm on Instagram at Keith Justice, and you can find this podcast and more on PopGeeks.com. Thank you everybody for listening, and it's been a blast. I hope to have you guys on again, and so we can geek out some more. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Will.
Right on. All right, we're out. Take it easy, and we'll see you in the next episode. And done.
Jack, freak name.